Happy Friday. It's July. Summer is here in San Diego, which is awesome. Beaches are awesome. Loving it. But I'm here to talk about intuition before I head out to the beach with a little family vacation here. And I want to talk about some kind of deeper stuff on intuition. As I have said before, I am in a intuition book club, and we've been doing that for, I was corrected. I thought it was 9 years, but it is actually, I think Karen said 7 or 7.5. We had done the Artist Way before that, but then we did this book club using Florence Scovel Shinn, which really focuses on following our intuition. So I put some information there. So I want to just recap on some things I've been talking about all year. One of them is that our thoughts are our vibrations. They are vibrations. So what we're saying may not match the vibration of the thought. So that's what I talked about earlier about closing that gap so that what we're saying and thinking match in that vibration. Now here's the interesting thing about that. If we're thinking a lot of anger and resentment and frustration and we're saying that out loud, a lot of times that is not received well and we're told not to do that. And so what we learn growing up doing, at least is how I learned, is to learn either how to mask that or only talk to certain people about that because it wasn't accepted or there was something wrong with you. Well, anger and all those are all emotions that are there to tell us something's going on within us to look at. So I want to get past that. So thoughts are vibrations. So really thinking about what our thoughts are more so than what we're saying is going to be important. That's number one. The other part I want to focus on is just how much our thoughts do drive our life. And so most people who are not practicing, I think, meditation and really focusing, maybe some people were raised in a family to automatically do this. I was not. This is something I had to learn later, where you really had to get quiet and learn how to listen to your own thoughts. This can be a little terrifying, especially if a lot of your thoughts are not necessarily seen out into the world as being acceptable or positive, so or PC. So if I start doing writing and meditation, I start getting like a lot of my early writing had a lot of stuff that nobody should ever read any of this. So I was kind of dumping it out in my writing, which was helping me close that gap of the person I was presenting out into the world and the person I really felt like I was on the inside. So we also so our subconscious is like the power of the vibration of our thoughts that can be running our life. That's why oftentimes I'll hear people say they think it's just bad luck, or they just say, no, your thoughts, if you paid attention to your thoughts, you would see how you could direct your life. So subconscious, so what's in our subconscious, that is not the thoughts that we're necessarily thinking up here. They're kind of down below. I like to think of that as like being kind of frozen, like if you were frozen in ice, like a lake kind of melting in the summer or in the spring. So our subconscious would be that which is in the lake that's frozen that we're not really paying attention to. And then as we start to pay attention to our thoughts and vibrations, that lake starts to melt and we start to see these other things about ourselves that maybe we weren't aware of before. Then we have the conscious mind. That's what's above the lake. That's what we're consciously doing. That's what we would call the human mind. That's what we're watching is happening. There's more going on than what we see. So I know that to be true. Then we have the superconscious mind, which I like to call the source mind, which is in everybody. And that is where our real intuition is. And that is what's trying to push us and give us these messages to go to the place that we are to feel that no one else is to feel. Like that is our job. So when we get here, we have this push that's telling us to go to this place that we are to feel that no one else is to feel. Now, a lot of people, when they get here, they're born into families and even societies or whatever, where it's not, and that's not taught, that's not encouraged, it's almost discouraged. So we build up all of this subconscious stuff that we have to get rid of as adults. I have been doing that for years in my life now. And I will tell you, I do think now in doing this video, I really sat and read through some of my material and wanted to come back to you and tell you that I really think there is a combination of things that need to be done to really start listening and hearing our intuition and being able to follow it. If you're an adult like myself who has grown up in a trauma-based family, who has reacted to life in a way that has buried a lot of things, and put out a picture that everything's okay, we on the outside all looked really okay. Things were not okay. On the inside down below, there was a lot of problems going on. But because there were no tools for generations on how to deal with that, what my family did to survive, and it's actually a positive thing, it just doesn't work anymore, is they learned how to survive by being able to get out into the world and put on a face, a picture of this is how I can do it, but internally suffering. So the idea is that we want to close that gap so we can go out in the world and live free and live joyful and live in the place we're supposed to live and not have the suffering. That's the goal in doing this. The whole goal in doing this video series all this year is that's what I'm practicing, and that's what I want to pass out to my friends and family that watch these videos. So what the combination of things to do that has worked for me, writing is a big piece. Free writing is a really big piece to dump out a lot. Having people around you who think and are practicing this. So my book club, I actually have 2 little book clubs. I have an Artist Way group, and I have my Intuition book club. So I have about 10 women. My husband's on board. We practice this even on our work. It's just framed in different ways. Our business coach, Tom Ferry, does a lot of this in our conferences. I'm getting ready to go to a conference in August, and he's going to do a lot of meditation about this, getting rid of all of this old stuff so that we can really focus on who we are and be who we are and love who we are and be successful in our life. Like, that's the goal. Yeah, and then we talk about selling real estate a little bit, but most of our convention is that, and that's awesome. So I've learned how to surround myself with those people. Now, let me tell you, at first it was really uncomfortable because I had this internal vibration that was different than what I was putting out there. So I had to be around people who could support that too. So who you surround yourself with, also doing a lot of writing, having a therapist to kind of help you walk through some of this as it comes up and all this subconscious stuff comes up, and then being able to be honest about that. I talked about honesty is super, super important in this process. And then I also now am finding something physical that you can do that really helps. Like, dance has helped me a lot. Yoga has helped me a lot. It really, what we're really doing in all of this intuition talk is we are actually regrooving our brains. And so in doing that, the physical part helps with that too. And there's a book out called The Body Keeps the Score. It's all about that, regrooving the brain, especially if you've come from a trauma-based family like I have. But it's all possible. It's all possible to live free as adults, even if you've had the most tragic upbringing. And even if you haven't, I know people who have not, they've had wonderful lives and they haven't learned how to follow their intuition. You don't have to have a tragic life. You can just be a normal person and go, I want to be happier and joyful and be in the place I'm supposed to fill that no one else is supposed to fill. So that's the goal. So I know some of you who are listening have started your book clubs. I love it. I hope you're writing. I'd love to hear from you. Please message me. Get out into nature. Just get to be who you really are. And who you really are, nobody can be. That's my favorite thing ever. There's no such thing as competition if that's going on. Nobody can be you. Only you can be you. So have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday. I love you and have a good weekend.